What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Going to start off today with just a little bit of review of what I've seen in the collective. I think I'll probably get in the habit of doing this. Maybe a short review of what I see in the collective. Maybe readings that we've seen from other people. One reading that I saw that was pretty interesting to me, and I was sitting in my seat just bucking the whole time. Just no, that's not. It was somebody giving a reading saying, you're the only one that can do what it is that you need to do. And so, you gotta, whatever your mission is, you gotta do it. And I'm just thinking, anybody can do whatever I'm doing. I don't think so. Why are you laying this on me? I don't, I was sitting there just like, no, right? And this is kind of something that I've always thought was that, what makes you special? If you really get so many of the readers and the readers in the reading community, you take the ego out of it, right? You're no longer, all you're doing is channeling for what you guys need to hear, right? What does the collective need to hear? And in a way, that's what we're all doing. We're channeling for each other, in our relationships. Usually you're feeling what the need is and then channeling for that need, usually helping to ground it out, make each other feel and uplifted, and that we're all important. Unity consciousness, right? How do we get to a place where everyone feels respected, right? That we're not, suffering from low self-esteem or anything like that. And how we're all, contributing to one another's needs. And maybe we're not even supposed to be doing that, right? When you think about where we're headed, maybe we're just supposed to be letting go of burdens, right? What is my burden, right? Do I have a burden? And you could look at burdens in a lot of different ways, right? Is it a burden to get in front of a computer screen and make a video, right? Is that a burden? Why is that a burden? Because am I not in the right emotional state where I feel I just don't want to be bothered, right? And I have been that way, for sure. I've been in that state where I'm just like, no, I don't want to get in front of the screen right now. But anymore, it's like, right, who cares? You just do it enough and it just doesn't matter. I mean, whatever. I'm gonna blah 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 blah. But you want to give equal opportunity to make sure that everybody gets to the right state of emotional intelligence where it's not a struggle to feel like, if you had to stand in front of 10,000 people, it's like, okay, whatever. Who cares? Whatever happens, happens. When you really think of it that way, it really does not matter, right? If you have something to say, but how do we get to a place in society where we don't lift people up and think that, oh, we're super special, and you let your ego get away, right? Yeah, public speaking has there's a trap, right? There's always the dichotomy, right? The ability to be comfortable with yourself and get the ego out of the way and just be non-attached to the outcome and not get attached to the praise that you might get in the long run of being good at something. So, right, because everybody has the same potential. So to believe that we are special in any way in that regard, it's goofy, right? What we haven't really accomplished is the equality of doing that, right? How do we get to a place where we can work together and just create the evolution of the human soul in a way that's a unity consciousness that's elevating? Because we're always going to be growing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. But if you prioritize your needs over the collectives, then you just fall into out of balance, right? You got to have a balance there where the needs are being met. I was watching just before I got on here this morning, a couple of videos came across. One was a Jordan Peterson video and I didn't know about this, but evidently there was some woman out there advertising the fact that she She had slept with 100 men in a day, and then her next goal is to sleep with 1,000 men in a day. And so these two guys were talking about it as though, this the breakdown of the human psyche, and and Jordan Peterson was talking about the Babylonian, just seeking after just pure desire, pure pleasure, which is definitely, that'll send you down a road. But the thing is you can't look at it in a judgmental way, right? Don't be afraid to seek your desires, because they'll lead you to dead ends where you're just like, well, this isn't desirable for me anymore. Obviously, trying to sleep with a larger and larger number of people in one day is going to lead you down a road where, for one thing, your internal organs might start failing you. I don't know. You probably won't get a meal that day. 1,000 people? I don't know. It just doesn't seem sustainable, right? Are you just trying to set a Guinness Book of World Records? Put your name on the books for something that nobody else has done? Maybe so, right? What is there something wrong with that? No, but obviously, it's not something that you could ever create balance, right, and sustainability, right? All of us want some kind of balance and sustainability in this life. So if you can create balance and sustainability for your daily routine, and if it shifts to suit the needs of the collective, that's great. Just simple things like that, right? It doesn't have to be extreme. You can go to extremes in a lot of different ways, and that, to me, that was pretty good extreme. But I've really had, my heart has gone out to Jordan Peterson in a lot of ways, because when I watch his podcast, he's very rigid. He has a rigid belief system, and he has a belief system based on things, but it can fall into judgment too easy, right? Speak with compassion, especially if you see somebody going down a self-destructive path. You can speak with compassion and say that they'll learn, right? That path is going to lead you to a point where you learn that that's just not healthy, right? Executives talk about this all the time. I've seen so many people on Instagram and some other things where they led the success story lifestyle, where they just wanted to be successful over and over, and found that it just wasn't fulfilling, right? Putting a bunch of money in a bank account and having a bunch of people work for you just was not fulfilling. And I totally understand that. My co-creative model that I would love to see is all self-regulating. I don't want to regulate anybody else's activities. It's like, why would you want to try? There's no, right? Any kind of control mechanism to try and control the actions of anybody else is a waste of time. We are wasting our time, right? It's just like, so how do you create something where somebody who doesn't have self-control, for one thing, you gotta create a mechanism to spit those out. It's like karma. The last video I made was talking about dharma and karma, and right, teaching people how to control their mind. So how do you get to a place where you can teach that to make sure that people understand that that's what's controlling their external reality? Make sure you're expressing love and higher awareness for the people around you. A lot of people a lot of times aren't aware of parasitic forms, right? Like if you say something, hey, like this is just an example. Boy, it's raining outside. Just a blank statement, right? You say it, and somebody else is standing next to you. Oh yeah, it's really dreary. Why is it dreary? What's wrong with the rain? Or, boy, I hope it doesn't turn to snow. It's like a fear statement, right? Instead of just observing that it's raining and being okay that it's raining, if you find yourself immediately turning any kind of something that you're going through or during the day or anything around you, if you turn that into a point of fear or a point of negativity, you'll know that you'll have some kind of parasitic attachment that is trying to pull that energy, right? Because this is the positive side of the biofield right here. Everything above the heart. This is the positive. This is the creation. You're creating. And it's neutral. As long as it's neutral to everything that's around you, you're trying to positively lift it up. Now, if you have a negative way, then it's going to be distorted, right? You're going to have a distorted way of providing healing energy for your environment. So that's the last thing we want to do, right? At the same time, blocking those negative projections, because so many people have so many parasitic attachments, including myself. The only way to really overcome those is through prayer and meditation, right? To get through emotional blockages that you think that you might have, that you are unconscious of, emotional attachments to some kind of outcome or something like that. Just things that I've been thinking about and getting downloads on this morning. You get the group collective is going through so many things. It's never chance that you come across messages, right? Because you'll have ties to certain soul groups, right? And I see a lot of downloaded messages about the fact that a lot of times we don't think that we have a higher purpose. All of us have a higher purpose. It doesn't matter who you are. You have a higher purpose. But, and this is one thing that I will say to, because there's some readers, it'll go into this, where the last thing you want to do is get in your mind that, hey, I'm the savior of this world, and you're going to be some kind of messianic figure for the whole world, right? If you do that one, are there a billion parallel realities where we're all the savior of Earth? I mean, please, God, no. Right? It's like, nah. Spiritually, it's dead, right? I mean, the last thing any of us want is that, right? And, in some aspects, the Messiah story is a little bit disruptive in that regard, right? But we are all our own Messiah, right? We're all our own Savior. We're the ones that, take responsibility for controlling our actions, to controlling how we feel about one another, to try and do our best to control what we eat. So we're eating healthier, what are we creating as a society? Being willing to do the dirty work in society. There isn't any one task, and I've said this before. I was talking to my brother about this issue. Why can't we create a society where the tasks that nobody wants to do, we just rotate? I mean, to be realistic, in a big enough society, I might have to do one thing that I don't like, maybe 1 week a year, right? And the rest of the time, like if you're, and this includes even like building houses for people. If nobody wants to do that work, there's some people that love that work, and more than likely, you probably, and especially if you create a society that isn't focused on volume and like what we really need, because a lot of times we're building houses that we just don't need, right? And a lot of times it's because people can't get along together. They want to be isolated. I am fine having my own little hut where I have very limited space, and the community has all the play stuff out in the middle. I don't need a bowling alley in my house. I don't need, a tennis court in my basement. I don't need if 1,000-person home, even a home video studio, right? I just don't need it. Don't want it. I'm much happier in nature. I don't know about the rest of you guys. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but why can't we create something like that? Pretty simple. Where, once you get to some certain spiritual progression, you find out, that the only thing that you really want is to make sure that we aren't suffering and you don't run into suffering, in society, and the people around you aren't suffering. Why are they suffering? Right? Especially when we have everything that we need. Why are we suffering? What is the point of suffering? Why are we yearning for something that we just don't need? Why can't we be present? Why can't we be in a state where we can just walk into a hospital and heal the sick and clear the place out because they're going to the wrong place anyway? You all know it. The hospital is a place where you get healed. You generally get sicker if you go to the hospital. Now, that's not always the case, but a lot of time, the society we live on is kind of geared towards getting you to go there, right? And so the things that we offer to eat and things, aren't the best for us. So let's pull a few cards, shall we? Yeah. The best advice I could give anybody is just don't fall into judgment of the people around you and be accepting. Everyone deserves love, no matter what state they're in. No matter how conflicted they may be or trying to control somebody else's activities. It's not ever healthy to do that, right? But at the same time, you can do it passively. Try to help somebody be more aware of what they're doing. Not actively controlling, but passively saying, hey, look, the reason that you're worried about this or this or this is because this, and this, and there's no reason to be worried. And the worry actually creates the thing that you're worried about anyway. You don't realize it, but you're creating your own reality, right? Queen of Cups. That's our loving feminine energy. Who is... The Queen of Cups is in emotional contact with everybody around her, right? She understands what everybody's going through emotionally. And so she's in a caring state. So this is you guys' energy. It's a beautiful card to start with, right? Because that card is so important. King of Wands. So we have some decisive willingness to lead here. What else on the King of Wands? I think it's just a drizzle now, isn't it, Dad?
Yeah, it's still kind of raining out there. I can go down to Legion Hall, I guess.
Okay. Knight of Wands. Combined with the King of Wands. Interesting. Four Swords and the Hangman. Well, it's the weekend. You guys are resting. And some enlightened position. Right? We're seeing a lot of karmic activity playing out. Let's get on the other side here. So maybe we're taking action in the shadows and understanding that not much can be done about what it is that we want to get done right now. Lovers. On the Lovers. What aspect, what masculine or feminine aspect are coming together? Sun. Plan. We're in our childlike energy. And it's much easier to do if we are mastering our creative and receptive energy. Two major arcana right next to each other. Very good. Muy bueno. thinking about our choices here. Seven of Cups. This one's always like there's so many choices, but there's one right in the middle that seems uppermost and more interesting, right? And this is the one that I've been speaking about on this channel quite a bit. What is it that you gain the whole world but lose your own soul, right? Because wouldn't it be a much better healing scenario if we could create something together that would embody personal development and group development in a balanced way? I guess that's the best way that I can describe it, right? Queen of Wands. So we got the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands here. Knight of Wands. A lot of Wands with a little bit of rest. And the Knight of Cups. One more on the Knight of Cups. Keeping competitors at bay, right? What is made for you is made for you. People say that all the time, but you know, it could be what is your desire, right? What is your desire? What are you most interested in? I can tell you what I am most interested in, and you probably, it's not just group development, but it's healing, right? Being able to get rid of you have to get rid of the blinders off of people's eyes so that they know that what is feeding off of them and what's making us grow older, what's making us grow sicker, what things yeah. Hospitals should be a thing of the past, right? Cancer. Kids that are born with cancer. Why can't those children be cured? Should be able to cure them with, instantaneously. Just by laying on of hands. With belief. Yeah. I'm going to pull an oracle card. And just leave it at that. One oracle card. Be still. This is like a code of many colors, right? Be still. Just picture the eye of the storm, right? Be still in the face of a lot of competing energies. There's no reason to compete. Just meet the needs as they come at you, right? Love you guys. Have a beautiful day. And have a happy new year. Happy 2025. We'll see what 2025 brings, right? Love you.